Hey, this is Rick and welcome back to another DIY do-it-yourself project. If you follow my channel, you know that I do a lot of things in the aquarium hobby and fish tanks. I've been doing it since the 80s. If that dates me, then you're right, I'm an older guy. I'm 52 years old. But this is going to be on how to build a aquarium divider, fish tank divider. If you want to divide your fish up into different species, rather than have a bunch of tanks, you can put some dividers in there and then separate your fish so they won't fight, or if you want to film them or whatever it is you do with them, or just to enjoy them. I have done some aggressive fish in the past, and I'm down to a 55-gallon tank now, and health-wise I can't really change a bunch of tanks out, so 55-gallon is the max that I'm going to be able to handle. So I've decided to go ahead and build a divider. I just recently got a fish from the guys from UFA, which is United Flower Horn Association. They were kind enough to donate me one because I have a female that's fertile and she's ready to go ahead and have babies. So if you want to check that out, check my channel out, subscribe to it, look into the aquarium section, and you'll be able to follow along with how that's going. So anyway, I need to build a divider. I've looked all over the place online and I couldn't find one. Fish is coming today, so I'm kind of jammed up for time, and I've got to build one real fast. As you know, if you followed my channel, I'm a pipe fitter. I'm presently out of work right now due to some medical reasons, and I do have some stuff laying around. This is CPVC pipe. It's ½ inch, and I'm going to go ahead and try to make a nice divider out of that. What you want to do first is you want to go ahead and measure your tank. When you measure your tank, you want to go from the inside to inside of the glass. Keep in mind, the way the glass comes together on the side, the outer part of the glass, you're not going to measure. You're only going to measure the inner part of the glass because that's where the end of the divider is going to hit on the side. So if you follow me, like say this was your aquarium. It's running this way long ways, and then this is your shorter part here. So the glass is going to come down on each end here to the ends here, and then the shorter part of where the glass goes in and you have your silicone seals here in the corners is going to be shorter. So you want to measure from the inside to the inside of where the glass meets there and the glass meets there. That way it'll be up against the side of the glass when you go ahead and install it. This is one way you can use. These are cheap. I always look around for things that you can use. My 55-gallon is a little bit wider than this flat tray that you get vegetables, garden plants from your big box store. But if you have a smaller tank, it's not as wide, then you may be able to get away with this by using that as your divider and put that up against your PVC. Or you may be able to just go ahead and lock it in just for temporary until maybe you can release the fish or whatever. So I also have done a project in the past where I put this blackout screen material in my windows. It's completely safe. You can see through just a little bit, so that maybe will keep them less stressed. They'll be able to see each other. The water will still be able to pass through that. You can blow right through there, so you'll get flow coming from your filter with no problem. Like I said, there's my measurements there, and you're gonna want that PVC to go right up against it. So when you take your measurement, you want the back of your 90 to be pushed right up against there. So the material you're going to need is 4 ½ inch 90s with this pipe, some wire ties, a hacksaw, some acetone if you want to take the writing off of the pipe. But when you do take that writing off, make sure you rewash these with soap and water to get that chemical off there before you put it in your tank. Something to mark with, and of course a rule. So like I said, this is going to be 12 inches on the width. I've gone ahead and I've laid that out. I measured it, and I'll go ahead and make my cuts. So what I'll do is, to shorten this video up, I'm going to go ahead and make the 4 pieces up. You guys know how to use a hacksaw, I'm sure. You just put it on there like that, and you're going to cut through. And then just clean up your ends with some sand cloth or a sanding block. Make sure it's nice and smooth. You can even use the sanding cloth to go ahead and get rid of your writing if you want to. Just takes a little bit longer, but you can see it's starting to disappear. But that acetone will take that right off, and even take this yellowing color off here too, where the stripe is running down the side. So just in case people aren't familiar with hacksawing, hacksaws are pretty cheap. You can even use the blade if you want to. Just put some tape on the end of the blade if you want to buy a blade, and you can use it as a hand saw. You don't need this whole saw. You can use whatever you want. If you got a sawzall, if you have a circular saw, chop saw, whatever. Just some way to cut that PVC. You may even have a PVC cutter. Looks like almost like a large pair of shears. I don't have that right now. You see, we're starting to cut our pieces down. We'll come back. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've cut my pieces up. Here they are. You got the 2 long ones, which are these here, and then 2 short ones. Now I saved this step so you can see there's writing on the PVC. Take your acetone, regular acetone, nail polish remover. You guys are familiar with that, right? The stinky stuff your wife likes to put on her nails and take off her polish. Some on a rag. and you'll see the writing starting to come right off. And that color, that yellow band that was on there, greenish yellow band. See the other side? It's coming right off there. Use gloves if you want to. I'm going to immediately wash my hands and this pipe when I'm done. And you can see most of the writing is completely gone. If it's stubborn, this CPVC has been here for a while, so that writing's been on there for a long time. Take your sanding block or your sandpaper and just lightly go over it. It's going to be a little bit more elbow grease, but it'll completely disappear. And then go ahead and clean up your edges. Make sure you don't have any sharp points on there. Go right around the side of the pipe and do this for all 4 of them. Okay, now that all 4 of those are done, what you want to do is you just want to dry fit these. You're going to push them all the way in until they go into that little socket in the back of the 90. Push them on there nice and tight. If you cleaned up your pipe nice, there won't be any trouble putting that together. While your 90's on, your width pieces, like that. And there's your frame, laying nice and flat. Now we're going to dry fit this. We're not going to put any glue or anything like that on there because there's another step I'm going to show you. I've seen some other places where people will drill holes in there so that the water will go in there. But what we're going to do is you're just going to pop this off, submerge it in your tank, put it back together, and that's going to be completely filled with water, which is going to keep it down. And then if we made this big enough, we're going to lock that into the side of the aquarium. You can put some suction cups on each side if you want, on the glass side to keep it from banging around, but I think that's going to do just fine. Now you can see if you had a smaller tank, you could cut this piece out here and you're done. Wire tie that to the frame and you got yourself a divider. And it didn't cost you much. I mean, I think a 10-foot piece of pipe might run you about maybe $3 or $4 from Lowe's. I'll put the link up there just to double check it. Like I do with all my videos, I usually put a picture of the product that I have or whatever I'm using. But in this aspect, we're going to use this screen material. Like that. And you can just cut that with some scissors. You can get this roll at Lowe's or any of your big box stores. But what I would suggest before you do that, go up in your aquarium, dry fit this before you put the screen material on there. And see if it locks right into the sides of the aquarium. You're going to start in, like say this is the aquarium here. You're going to start in like this and then you're going to turn it till it locks up against the glass here and here. And if it's nice and stiff, this will flex a little bit. It'll even move in just a little bit. As long as you didn't go too wide. If you can't get it in there and it's way too long, to just cut a little bit off of your sides and it'll slip right in there. Okay, so now that you've dry fit everything in your aquarium, you know it fits perfect, it snugs in there, it's not too stiff. You don't want too stiff to where you're going to end up bowing out the aquarium glass walls or anything like that. Just nice and snug. And then what we'll do is we'll put a couple of wire ties at the top where our divider is for our lid. If you don't have one, then it'll probably work just wedging it in there. That's what I'm going to do. So now what you want to do is you want to lay out the inside of here. Several ways you can do this. You can bring out the fabric to the outside if you want to, and you can wrap the PVC. I'm kind of in a hurry right now because I've got a fish on the way, so I need to go ahead and put this in. Like I said, this may be permanent, maybe temporary. I may build another one after this, so check my channel later for a different design. So what you want is like a square and something to lay it out with. You're going to need like a paint stick or something that's going to show up on this screen material, or you can just use your utility knife and run it right down the sides here. Just make sure you don't cut yourself. Tough material. You could use any other kind of screen material. If you could find like a plastic mesh at the store or something, go ahead and use that. This is what I had laying around, so I decided to go ahead and use it. Okay, so now that we've got our mesh all cut out, best we can do with this material. This material is a little thicker than usual. You're going to want to go ahead and put a series of holes in here. We'll just go with 3. 1, 2, 3. Maybe we'll go with 4 here. So split the center, and then 1 there, and 1 there. And 3 down at the bottom. And you're going to want to go ahead and put wire ties through those holes, and that's going to pull that mesh together all the way around the PVC. Now leave the top one here completely off, because what we're going to do is we're going to take that apart and we're going to fill it with water. That way you don't have to drill a series of holes in here. That'll save you some steps and keep it a little cleaner. That way algae doesn't get in there or any kind of fish waste or anything like that. You can always take it apart and clean it out if you have to with like a tube cleaner or something. Okay, so what I've used is I use an awl. All you do is just push that all right through that screen material. Make sure you step back enough that it doesn't fray it. I've got it about maybe a 1/4 inch off the side there. And then you want to start your wire ties in. Start them in from the back. Pull them in through the screen where you put your hole. Bring it through the locking mechanism of the wire tie, cable tie. And don't lock it down completely. Just kind of snug it up. And now what you want to do is go around the whole entire frame like that. Don't snug them up till you're done. Alright, so there you go. You got all your wire ties on there, and then you can start going around and snugging them up so that you get the screen nice and tight. Not too tight, but just enough that it's got some resistance against it, and you get all the little gaps out of it. What you want to do now is, once they're tightened up, roll these up so that they're... Okay, so now that you've gone all the way around there, it looks like this. Go around and start pulling those up a little bit. Don't make it too tight, just tight enough that you got some resistance there. Your fish isn't going to go through there. If you got a little bit of gap there, it's no big deal. The water will pass through there a little bit better, especially at the top of the surface. And like I said, leave this a little bit looser over here. You can tell right there it's loose. That way we can take this apart and fill it up with water. Now when you go to cut these, snug them up, pull them back this way a little bit. And you want these little tabs towards the front here, and cut them off as close to that lock as you can without leaving any sharp edges on there. Just roll them up. That way your fish won't bang into them. So go around and do that with all of them. Go ahead and pull them up a little bit and cut them off. There you go. It's starting to look really nice. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll install it in the tank. So now you bring your mesh up, and you're going to disconnect one of those 90s at the top there. Now you can see it's open. Right like that. And you're going to stick it in your tank. Turn it sideways. Take that all the way down to the bottom there. Let it all fill up water and get all the air out. Flip it around the other way. Make sure it's filled up completely with water. And you've run out all that air that's in there. Now slide that 90 right back together again. Make sure it's nice and tight. Slide it together nice and tight there. Take it and slide it sideways. You got some weight in there now, so it's going to be a little more difficult to move around. But all the air is out of it. Take it to the middle of the tank there. One hand down on the bottom. I'm trying not to be in the camera here. And slide it around. Now you can square it up from the front. It's nice and square. Clean design. There's nothing getting through there. If you want, you can put a couple more wire ties on there and cinch it up a little tighter. And there you go. There's your divider. If we move it around here, you can see the side of it. And with that mesh, they can see the silhouette of each other, but they're not really going to be able to see completely. Now up here at the top, if you want to, just for safety, you could put a wire tie right there if you have a center brace right around the top of this, and that'll lock it in even tighter. But believe me, that's in there pretty good. If you did your measurements right, it's going to be locked right in there. You can see the top there. And even when I fill that tank up, it's still above the water level. Once again, please subscribe down there in the bottom of the right-hand corner. Hopefully that's the right-hand corner. Hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. It allows me to go ahead and do other videos for you. Share with your friends, family, and give me some feedback, and let me know how you make out with your project. And check out the guys at UFA, United Flowerhorn Association. Very knowledgeable, good forum on Facebook. They'll tell you whatever you need to know. Thanks for watching.